any difficulty in understanding? Okay, fine. So we can definitely go ahead with the continuation. That is, we are going to talk about the histology. So here we go ahead with histology of the alimentary canal. Wall of the alimentary canal is made up of 4 layers. Now we are talking with respect to what is it internally. Okay, so when we move from outside to inside, how the alimentary canal is going to be, made up of. So in general, it's made up of 4 layers. Okay, but the thickness, the constitution is going to change according to the function and the working. Okay, so let us understand that. Wall of the alimentary canal is made up of 4 layers. First is going to be called as the serosa. Serosa, it is outermost layer of the alimentary canal. It is called as tunica adventitia. So even in the reproduction in humans, we have seen this word tunica, right? So here the outermost serosa layer will be called as what? Tunica adventitia in the esophagus. So the word serosa, okay, is going to be common, but that serosa of the esophageal region would be called as what? Tunica adventitia. And here it will be made up of fibrous connective tissue. Okay, so if in the examination this tunica adventitia word aata hai, so please remember it is the outermost layer, it is the serosa layer of the esophagus. Okay, fine. Well, yes. Then, except esophagus, remaining part of the alimentary canal is covered by serosa layer, which is made up of visceral peritoneum, while tunica adventitia is made up of white fibrous connective tissue. So we have seen that tunica adventitia is made up of white fibrous connective tissue, and rest of the serosa layer, which will be covering the entire alimentary canal except the esophageal part, is going to be made up of what? Visceral peritoneum. Okay, so here in this diagram you can very well see, so here you can very well see, and this is going to be what? The serosa layer. The outermost covering bahar ka is going to be the serosa layer. Got it? Mucosa layer is mucus layer. Yes, yes, exactly. Okay. Then the second is muscularis. So as the name says, it is going to be made up of what? Muscles. So it is made up of 2 types of muscles. Outer muscle layer is made up of longitudinal muscles, while the inner layer is made up of circular muscles. Correct? Look at this diagram, beta. ये inner layer है, जो circular है, right? And this is the outer layer, which is longitudinal. Can you see? This entire one. Cylindrical structure which have been made. So outer longitudinal, inner circular together makes up your muscularis. So look at the thickness, my dears. Serosa ये black color का border है, हाँ? The outermost border is serosa. Inside this we have got longitudinal, which is a part of muscularis. This is inner, which is circular, which is also muscles, right? So these two are going to be your muscular layers. Extra oblique muscles are found in stomach. You remember last class I have told you all that stomach is the only one which is going to have 3 types of muscles: circular muscle, longitudinal muscle, and oblique muscles, right? So only in stomach will be having an extra muscular layer which will be oblique in nature. Oblique का मतलब होता है slanting. ठीक है? Then the thickest muscular coat is found in stomach, because 3 types of muscle layers hai na, so it is going to be the thickest. So maximum peristalsis are found in stomach. We know muscles are going to have the contractibility and relaxation capacity. So jitne zyada muscles rahenge, utna zyada peristalsis hoga. That will be creating more of these pulsating type of actions. Correct? So, yeah, maximum peristalsis will be found in the stomach, and least muscles are found in the rectum. So least peristalsis are found in the rectum. Now this could be a question. Maximum peristalsis is found in dash part of the alimentary canal, while least is found in the dash part of the alimentary canal. So maximum is going to be in the stomach with 3 muscular layers, and least is going to be in the rectum. ठीक है, ये याद रखना point. Okay. Then comes your submucosa. So serosa, muscularis, and then comes your submucosa. Submucosa, it is made of loose connective tissue layer with blood, lymph vessels, and nerves. So this submucosa is the one which will be provided with blood, lymph, and nerves. The entire alimentary canal, the entire alimentary canal is going to be lined with the third layer internally called as submucosa. Okay. Mucosa is the innermost layer of the gut, which contains the secretory and the absorptive cells. So they are going to secrete mucus. Mucosa layer is going to be secreting mucus. Okay. What is lymph? I have told you all what is lymph. Lymph is going to be the interstitial fluid, which is going to be in breathing and exchange. We have seen now. Interstitial fluid, lymph, which is going to be, outside the blood capillaries. It's a medium through which the gases would diffuse or the nutrients would pass. It is going to be collecting all the toxins, waste. We have seen the lymph nodes and all. Yaad aaya? Yeah. So the submucosa will be having blood, lymph vessels, and nerves. And mucosa is going to be having the capacity to secrete mucus, as well as it is going to have the capacity to absorb the digested part of the food. So these are the 4 layers of your entire alimentary canal. Okay. So बस 2 चीजें यहाँ पर थोड़ी हटके है which you need to remember. Esophagus is going to be having, instead of serosa, it's going to be having what? A peculiar white fibrous connective tissue layer, right? On the other hand, stomach will be having 3 types of muscles: circular, longitudinal, and oblique. There's submucosa and mucosa is common to all. So if you look at this particular diagram, you can see this is serosa, inner circular, outer longitudinal, that makes up your muscularis. This is this dark pink color जो दिखाई दे रहा है, this dark pink color is going to be your submucosa. It's going to be provided with blood and all, right? And below this off-white color that you can see, or the peach color that you can see, okay, is going to be your mucus layer. And mucus layer has got these fine, like finger-like projections. Can you see them? ये mucus layer के ऐसे projections है. Okay, and this particular cavity, okay, is going to be called as the lumen. So it's the actual hollow part of our alimentary canal. Fine, you understood? So whatever food is going to be taken in, digested, absorbed, wherever the food is going to pass through, this food will be passing through this cavity, which is going to be called as the lumen. Is it fine? What's your doubt, beta? Yes. It's going to be, it's going to be present. It's going to be present at the center. That is going to be your lumen. Okay. Understood from the diagram how it looks like. ठीक है ना? कोई confusion है बेटा? Histology of alimentary canal, serosa, muscularis, submucosa, and mucosa. Anything not followed? Any point not understood? No, we don't call them as cilia. They are not cilia. Cilia are hair-like projections. Yes, in the mucus layer, these crypts are present. Yes, beta. Yes, Arpita, you're right. They'll be called as villi. Very correct. Okay. Histology is going to be the internal tissue structure of an organ. Okay. So histology का मतलब होता है tissue study. Fine. It's going to be called as the tissue study. So what are the 4 tissues which make up the alimentary canal? Serosa, muscularis, So mucosa, mucosa. Okay, that is called as histology. Anything else, my dears? Anyone having any difficulties, or shall I move ahead? I'll go ahead. Okay. Okay, beta. Yeah. Now, this mucosa we are going to talk about in detail now. The mucosa is differentiated into three parts. The outer part is called as mucosa muscularis or muscularis interna. It is made up of longitudinal and circular muscles. These muscles are vestigial. They provide support to the folds of the alimentary canal. So these particular folds, now you can see those villi-like things, the crypts that you all had told me. So, they provide support to the folds of the alimentary canal. Okay. Middle part is going to be called as lamina propria. Do you remember this word lamina propria? पहले भी हमने कहीं किया था. Do you all recollect that word lamina propria? Or no? नहीं? हाँ, reproductive system. Yes. Lamina propria. Female reproductive system. Yeah, exactly. Yes, beta. Correct, correct. Palak, very correct. Good, my dear. So here also now, the middle part is going to be called as lamina propria, which is going to be made up of reticulate. Reticulate means network, dense network of fibrous connective tissue. Dense network of blood capillaries would be found over here. So in the middle part, there is going to be, blood capillary network, fibrous connective tissue network, which will be called as lamina propria. Okay. Outer part is going to be having longitudinal and circular muscles, right? Innermost part is going to be your mucosal layer. In esophagus, yeah, the same thing, but they have given it in a bit descriptive manner for you all to understand the concept. This doesn't mean that, like it is not there in the NCRT, but this will make your concept very, very clear. Okay, so see, third or the innermost part will be called as the mucosal layer, the one which we have seen. In esophagus, this layer is made up of non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Non-keratinized. Keratin is a protein. Okay, our nails, our hair are going to have this keratin, right? So here in the esophagus, there is no keratin present, and it's going to have stratified squamous epithelium. Now, what happens is, to understand this point, because animal tissues is left as for completion, you may not understand this. I'll just give you a very clear idea about this particular sentence. कि ये क्या है? Keratinized stratified squamous epithelium क्या है? I'll tell you. Okay. See. Okay. Now, suppose I hope you all can see this picture very clearly. So here, these are going to be your, can you see a single layer of cells? They are a single layer of cells. Right? So they are how? They are single layers. ठीक है? तो ये जो सिंगल लेयर का ऐसे टाइल्स के जैसे दिखने वाला जो एक ग्रुप ऑफ सेल्स है ना बेटा, इसको हम कहते हैं स्क्वामस एपिथेलियम. व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज स्क्वामस एपिथेलियम. Okay, so you understood what is squamous epithelium. Now this is simple squamous epithelium. इसको हम क्या कहेंगे? We'll call it as simple. So what do you mean by simple? As a single layer. Okay. Now, if I have to make stratified, so stratified में क्या होगा, एक लेयर के ऊपर दूसरा, दूसरे लेयर के ऊपर तीसरा, तीसरे लेयर के ऊपर चौथा, तो ऐसा मल्टी स्टोरेज बिल्डिंग बनेगा. Fine. Understood. So how will it look like now? So these cells which are single layered now, they will become now, multi-layered. They'll become tall. एक के ऊपर एक cells जा रही है, right? And you're also, you'll be having such type of multi-layered. So here what is happening, see? The cells are forming one above the other. Okay, so they are going to be, like एक के ऊपर एक. So there are going to be many like this way, one above the other. So can you see how they have stacked one above the other? So this is going to be called as stratified. Stratified squamous epithelium, which is multi-layered. Fine. Now, if I put, which color shall I take, which will be visible to you all? I'll take green color. If I place, can you see this green color ka layer on this? Okay, so if I place a layer above this, then this layer is going to be of the protein called as keratin. If I place this green color layer above it, then this will be called as what? Keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. But if I don't have this layer, then it will be called as normal stratified squamous epithelium. Did you all understand the difference between simple and stratified, beta? All of you? So a multi-storied building is going to be your stratified squamous. And single ground floor वाला जो एक छोटा हटमेट के जैसा होता है, that is your squamous, simple squamous. So you understood the difference between the two, right? So what they are saying, that mucosa layer is going to be stratified but non-keratinized. So उसके ऊपर ये keratin का layer नहीं होने वाला है. But थोड़ा बहुत idea आ गया what I'm trying to tell you all? No, my dear, columnar is not stacked. I'll show you. If you're confused, now good that you asked me. I'll show you what is the difference between squamous, stratified squamous and columnar. I'll show you. I'm drawing columnar now. So just look at the diagram very carefully. Yeah. So how will it look like? Columnar wala. So columnar will look something like this way. Okay, so this is a single layer of columnar cells. So this is going to be your simple columnar. Understood? So only one layer of cells. Okay. After keratin comes, it becomes keratinized. Yes. Columnar has long cells. Yes. Column-like structures. Yes. Correct. Got it? And the squamous epithelium which I had drawn now, they appear like tiles, marbles. या फिर just like वड़ा पाव का पाव. आपने देखा है वड़ा पाव का पाव का वो लादी आता है, लादी पाव बोलते हैं हम लोग उसको. हाँ, how do they look like? That is squamous. That is squamous type, and columnar are tall cells, long tall cells. Okay, we are going to do all these things in detail in the structural organization in animals wala chapter. We'll be doing it. Okay. Yeah, because this topic, this word is there. I don't want you all to just memorize the things for no reason. Understand what it is. All these cells are present in the Where are these cells present? Look at it. Mucosal layer, alimentary canal ka mucosal layer. It is going to be made up of non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So these cells are going to be a part of the mucus layer. Okay, except esophagus, this layer is single layered thick, right? This layer makes the lining of the lumen of the alimentary canal. Lumen, देखो, ये diagram में lumen आपको दिखाई दे रहा है. Can you all see the lumen? See? So this is the mucosal membrane, which is going to have stratified squamous epithelium. This is the submucosal, the second layer, which is supplied with blood, lymph, and nerves. And this is going to be the muscular layer. Correct now? So these mucosal layer जो है, it is going to be having these stratified squamous epithelium. Okay. The layer is made up of, this layer is makes the lining of the lumen of the alimentary canal. This layer is made up of columnar mucous epithelium. Folds of esophagus are less developed. तो esophagus में stratified squamous है. Correct? Esophagus में. And except esophagus कैसा है ये? Columnar mucosal epithelium है. Right? Folds of esophagus are less developed. This layer makes the folds of the alimentary canal. Folds of the stomach are finger-like projections. Folds of small intestine are conical shaped, called as villi. Small slits-like spaces are found at the base of the villi. These spaces are called as crypts of Libercles. So there are going to be small slits. Slits means openings. And these openings are going to be called as what? Crypts of Libercle. Opening है मतलब कुछ ना कुछ secretion है या कुछ ना कुछ absorption है. Right? Opening है मतलब something is going to be passing through that particular opening. Correct? Villi of jejunum and ileum are long and pointed. Maximum villi are found in jejunum. So you can see these finger-like projections ना, ये villi जो आपको दिखाई दे रहे हैं ना, ये वाले ये देखो. हर एक एलिमेंट्री कैनाल के हर एक ऑर्गन में ये डिफरेंट दिखते हैं. तो कैसे दिखते हैं उन्होंने यहाँ पर वो बताया है कि ईसोफेगस में ये फोल्ड्स बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन के. स्टमक में दे आर फिंगर लाइक. इंटेस्टाइन, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन, दे आर कॉनिकल शेप, जो अभी मैंने वो बॉर्डर दिखाई वो, which is going to be called as villi. Villi of duodenum are blunt. So देखो, folds of small intestine are conical, but they are blunt in duodenum and they are pointed in jejunum and ileum. And maximum villi are found in jejunum. For this, now these things are not there in your books, my dears, and this makes up your out of syllabus questions. And it should be very clear in our mind that villi are always present in the mucosal membrane. In the esophagus, the villi are not very well developed. In the stomach, they are finger-like. In the intestine, duodenum, ileum, and jejunum. In the small intestine, they are conical in shape. In duodenum, it is going to be blunt, while jejunum and ileum is going to be pointed. And maximum villi are going to be found in jejunum. Means maximum absorption. See, they are going to increase what? The surface area for absorption. Correct? So don't you think maximum absorption is going to take place in the jejunum, because maximum villi are going to be found in the jejunum? Is it okay? Have you all understood all the three parts? Correct? No confusions? Good. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you're right, Beta. You're perfectly right, my dear. Very well, you know, पर बराबर पकड़े हो उस point को. सही है. Okay. Then we come to what? Brunner's gland. So now we are coming to, you know, specific glands. So these glands are also going to be very important. And what are their secretions and all, we're going to talk about it. See, Brunner's gland, they are small spherical multicellular glands. They open into the crypts of Libercum with the help of fine tubules. So I had told you, crypts hai, slits hai, openings hai, matlab something will either enter inside or something will be going outside. So what are they useful for? See, below the crypts of Libercum, there are going to be these Brunner's glands. And these Brunner's glands are going to have tubes, pipelines. छोटे tubes होते हैं. Where do they open? They open into the crypts of Libercum. These glands are found, कहाँ है ये? Brunner's gland कहाँ है? These glands are found in the submucosa and mucosa of duodenum. So now you know the position of submucosa and mucosa. So the submucosa and mucosa will be having these Brunner's gland in between. Samjha? And they'll open into the crypts of Libertines. Correct? What is the use of them? What do they synthesize? See, they synthesize and secrete non-enzymatic secretion of intestinal juice. Most important है ये. Non-enzymatic means their secretions won't contain any enzymes, but they are going to contain certain chemicals which are going to be a part of the intestinal juice. So intestinal juice ka one component is what? Brunner's gland secretion, which are non-enzymatic. So someone has to be there who would form enzymatic part. Okay. Yeah. What's your doubt, beta? The gastric glands of stomach are synonymous to crypts of, not synonymous exactly. The roles are a bit different. Okay. And the structure is also a bit different. Gastric gland is a gland and crypts are openings. So जैसे gastric gland is there in the stomach, Brunner's gland is present in the alimentary canal of intestine. So it's a part of your duodenum. So Brunner's gland, gastric gland, salivary gland. Salivary gland in the mouth, gastric gland in the stomach, Brunner's gland in the duodenum of the small intestine. Okay. Villi is for absorption and secretion. Villi is more for absorption, not secretion. Secretion will be done by the glands. Absorption will be done by the villi. Okay. Villi are responsible for increase in the surface areas for absorption. Okay. Now, so who is secreting these non-enzymatic secretion? The Brunner's gland are secreting. Where are they present? They are present in the submucosa and the mucosa of the duodenum. No confusion ना? समझ में आ रहा है? तो हमने सेरोसा देखा, मस्कुलरिस देखा, सबम्यूकोसा देखा, म्यूकोसा देखा, है ना? अब सबम्यूकोसा एंड म्यूकोसा के अंदर there are going to be the presence of glands called as Brunner's gland in the duodenum part. Okay, got it? Stomach के part में there are no Brunner's gland. Esophagus में there are no Brunner's gland. Though the serosa, muscularis, submucosa, mucosa is going to be the entire alimentary canal. These Brunner's gland are specifically going to be present in the duodenum of small intestine. ठीक है ना? कोई point ऊपर से जा रहा हो तो रुकाओ मुझे और पूछो बेटा. Stop and ask me. I don't mind explaining again, but I want all of you all to understand it very perfectly. This chapter is very important. Got it? Okay. Now we go to another group of cells which is called as Paneth cells. Paneth cells are found again in the mucosal layer, but where are they found? See, in the crypts of lubricants of jejunum. So, Brunner's gland in duodenum. Correct? Paneth cells in jejunum. Villi, yeah. So mucosa is going to have villi, na beta? So that villi region of the jejunum will have Paneth cells. You understood? So from top till the end, till the rectum, we have got serosa, muscularis, submucosa, mucosa, पूरा का पूरा है. जैसे कि क्या बताऊं मैं अभी आपको, कैसे बताऊं? हाँ, आपके रिफिल होती है ना, पेन की रिफिल होती है, करेक्ट? तो वो पेन के रिफिल में कैसे होता है? That entire, right? In the same way, our entire alimentary canal from the mouth region till the anus region, वो पूरी एक single tube, as I had told you, and that entire tube is going to be made up of what? These 4 layers. In the esophagus looks different. It will have some other, composition. The stomach region will have something different. The duodenum will have something different. The jejunum will have something different. So right from the mouth till the rectum or the anus, I would say, anus is an opening again, mouth is an opening again. In between that entire tube, everywhere, 4 layers का वो ऐसा पूरा ग्रुप ही है, वो पूरा का पूरा. Okay, got it? And they are going to have the mucosal layer with the villi. But in esophagus, the villi is not very well developed, as we saw just now. Correct? In stomach, these villi are going to be what? Finger-like, right? In intestine, they are going to be conical. But in duodenum, these are going to be blunt. While jejunum and ileum, they are going to be very, very pointed and tapering. This is what we saw just now, right? So accordingly, we are going to have different glands. So in the stomach, we have got gastric glands. In the duodenum, we have got Brunner's gland. And in the jejunum, we have got Paneth cells. Okay, okay. Larger mucosal layer. No, the stomach is going to have a thicker muscularis layer. Right? Tissue layers can be different in the whole tube from mouth to anus. Yes, Jaya. Bilkul correct. Why the villi aren't very well developed in esophagus? Because esophagus is not going to help in any absorption because अभी तक digestion ही नहीं हुआ है. So what will they absorb? For the absorption, digestion should occur, na beta. So in the mouth, whatever has been digested is very little. So there is no much significant, absorption going to take place in the esophagus. So it is not needed for having, very well development in the esophageal region. But from stomach and especially in the small intestine and that too in the jejunum part, maximum food is going to be getting digested. So maximum absorption will be taking place in those areas. Got it? Right? Understood? Why is it not very well developed in esophagus? Samjha? Yes, bacha. So now let us talk about the Paneth cells. Huh? So these cells are found in the mucosal layer of the crypts of Lubberkin and jejunum. Mucosa ka jitna bhi aisa depressions hai na, they'll be called as crypts. Okay? They are unicellular glands, cells. Paneth cells are unicellular cells. They synthesize and secrete the enzymes of intestinal juices. So see, Brunner's gland was producing non-enzymatic secretion. Paneth cells are producing enzymatic secretion. They both will mix together to form succus entericus. Okay, what is succus entericus? I'll tell you, of course. The secretory substances from the Brunner's gland means the non-enzymatic part, and that of the Paneth cells means the enzymatic part, combinedly would be called as intestinal juice, or it is called as succus entericus. समझा? समझा कि नहीं समझा? किसी को कोई doubt है इसमें? Anyone who has got even minute of the minute doubt, please clear it. So what is succus entericus? Secretion from Brunner's gland, non-enzymatic. Secretion from Paneth cell, enzymatic. Mixed together to form the intestinal juice, or it is going to be called as succus entericus. Please remember this word, succus entericus. बार बार आएगा ये आगे. So for you all to understand the mechanism of digestion, you should first know what is being produced for, digesting. Clear? All of you? No confusions? Okay. Now we go to the last part, that is Peyer's patches. Okay, now what is this Peyer's patches? Peyer's patches is going to be associated with the lymphoid system. Look at it. They are small lymph nodes which are found in the mucosa of small intestine, more in jejunum and ileum. They are also called as intestinal tonsils and they provide immunity. So I told you that lymph nodes, they are going to be the ones who are going to be the forefront soldiers of our body to combat and fight an infection. Okay, so जैसे अपने tonsils है, we have got tonsils, ना, कभी-कभी दर्द होता है tonsils का, गले में बहुत पेन होता है, गले से भी ज्यादा, this upper part of this lower section. The first thing, whenever you visit a doctor, the first thing they'll tell you is what? Open your mouth and टंग को बाहर निकालो and say ऐसे बोलते हैं कि नहीं, वो टॉर्च डाल के कुछ देखते हैं कि नहीं. So they check if the tonsils are infected or they are normal. So infected का मतलब क्या है? They are overproducing the lymph for fighting. I mean, they produce antibodies for fighting against the, germs. Okay, and therefore they become red in color. Fine. What is the location? I'll tell you. There's a diagram. I'll show you the diagram. It will be very clear. Okay. So they are going to be found as patches. Patchwork hota hai pura in the jejunum and ileum. Okay. They are also called as the intestinal tonsils, which provide immunity. Please remember, very important part of our this region. So even in this diagram. Can you all see this dark pink color? Or here you can see this dark brown color. Ye dekho. Right? Here, dark brown color. The other pair, these are the pairs. Fine. My voice is breaking. Is it? Is my voice breaking for all of you all? Hi, how come? And wait. Now it's fine. Actually, it has broken twice. Maybe something, but I don't know. Anyway, let us see. Okay, so now it's fine. Now it's clear. Now you all can hear me very clearly. Fine, beta. ठीक है. तो ये देखो इधर में वापस आ रही. I'm again coming to this particular part which we had seen in the last class. Now it will be more clear to you all. See this. Glands of the small intestine, Brunner's gland, mucus secreting gland, as also known as the mucus gland, Peyer's patches, lymph nodules. They produce lymphocytes, that is your antibodies, and the lymphocytic cells which eat away and destroy the harmful bacteria, and crypts of lubricant known as the intestinal glands found in the duodenum and ileum only. They secrete succus entericus, that is intestinal juice, formed by folding of lamina propria. Okay, so this is going to be your lubricants, Peyer's patch, Brunner's gland. So Paneth cells are going to be a part of this only. Correct? So that's all with to the glands of. Okay. Lymphocytes mean WBCs. Yes, bacha. They are your neutrophils basically, which are going to be phagocytic in nature. They eat away the bacteria. Okay, so that's all with your, the alimentary canal ka part. So we had to do the organs of alimentary canal and glands of alimentary canal, correct? So we have done both. We have completed both. So we have actually completed the alimentary canal and the glands. Now what we are going to talk about is the other glands which are going to help in digestion. Okay, the most important one is going to be the liver. Okay, Peyer's patches produce lymphocytes. Yes, but bilkul correct. Yes, they are the ones who are going to produce lymphocytes for eating away the harmful bacteria. Right? Can we move on to the next organ, which is very important organ, which is called as the liver? Yes, Kanak, right, but correct. In human, liver is made up of 4 lobes. Left lobe is small. Right proper lobe is large. 2 addition lobe called as quadrate and caudate are also found on the posterior side of the right proper lobe. Yes, Medansh. Yes, it has got so many functions. Very true. It has got so many functions. But the prime ones we have, jotted down as many as possible. I have, listed them on which the questions have been asked in the previous year's question papers. So I have mentioned almost all the functions together. Okay. Yeah. So what are the 4 lobes? See, the left lobe is going to be small. You can see here, left lobe, which is a smaller part. Right proper lobe is large. Can you see this? Right lobe here. So this entire one is the right lobe. ये बीच में एक ligament है बेटा, जो ये दो lobes को divide करता है. Can you see? Huh? So this is going to be the partition, I would say, who would make the small part of left and large part of the right. Okay. Then two additional lobes are present, which are called as quadrate and caudate lobes on the posterior side. Means this is going to be your anterior side, the posterior side. So the back side isn't shown over here. Fine. So in that way, we have got 4 lobes. It is developing from the endoderm. We know it is endodermal in origin. In reproduction of humans, we have done this. Weight is around 1.5 kgs. It is both exocrine gland as well as endocrine gland. Exocrine means it is going to have pipelines for carrying their secretions outside the body. Okay, we call them as duct glands. And they also have ductless part, that is, their secretions can be directly poured into the blood. So they don't have a pipeline for carrying the secretion. So they are both. Some part of it has ducts for carrying its secretion. Some part of it will directly pour its secretions into the blood, which will get mixed in the blood. Okay. So exo means outside, endo means inside. So the secretions which are going to be carried outside with the help of tubes or ducts is exocrine. And those which will pour their secretions in the blood only will be endocrine. Got it? In human, it is found in the right side of the abdominal cavity below the diaphragm. Right? Right side में है, below the diaphragm. उसका location बताया है. Liver is the largest gland of the body. Okay. Right and left liver lobes are separated from each other by falciform ligament. Can you see this falciform ligament? ये देखो. Falciform ligament. It's made up of fibrous connective tissue, which is nothing but it is a fold of the peritoneum. Okay. So what is this falciform ligament? It is the fold of peritoneum. So this is how the liver looks like. Any difficulty in understanding this part of the liver? Yeah, how can it be both? Na? Some part will be having ducts, some will not have ducts. It's a large thing, na beta? So some areas will be having tubes for carrying, some will not have. Okay, so it's going to be both. But which is going to be carried via the ducts will never be poured into the blood. And the one which are poured into the blood will never be carried by ducts. That is most important. Okay. If every part can be regrown. Yes. Entire liver, you know, it can be कोई भी part उसका cut हो, detach हम लोग कर ले, it can regrow on its own. Hi, what is peritoneum? Who will tell me what is peritoneum? Come on. We have done the word peritoneum in ovary also. Lining, yes. Peritoneum is the outermost lining, outermost covering of skin. Okay, it's going to be the outermost layer of the liver, which is going to form a fold called as peritoneum. Is always, peri means towards the periphery, outside. Tonium means covering. So covering of the periphery. Okay. Well, then right and the left hepatic duct develop from the right and the left liver lobe. Hepatic is associated with the word liver. Liver is equal to hepatic. So उस liver में से whatever secretions are going to be carried via the duct, right? That duct का नाम क्या है? Hepatic duct. What we call it as? Hepatic duct. Hepatic duct, liver duct. So one will come from the right side, one will come from the left side, and both will merge together like a Y-shaped structure. Okay. So the ending part of that Y, the straight tube of the Y, will be called as common hepatic duct. Got it? So the right lobe will give out one tube, the left lobe will give out another tube, and both these tubes will merge together to form a Y-shaped tube called as common hepatic duct. Is it okay? Have you all followed or no? समझा है? Yes. So I'll just show you that how exactly will it, look like. Very simple. See, this is going to be the right lobe. This is going to be the left lobe. Okay. So one will arise from here, from the right side. One will arise from here, from the left side, and they'll continue like this way, which is going to be called as the common hepatic duct. So this is going to be the right duct. This is going to be the left duct. Got it? Fine. Now, after this, there is one more, which is going to be something called as the gallbladder, which is also going to be coming and joining to this particular Y-shaped structure. I'll tell you what it is. But इधर तक समझा? Right duct से जो tube निकला, right lobe से जो tube निकला, right duct. Left lobe से जो tube निकला, left duct. Both will merge together to be called as common hepatic duct. But please don't confuse with the next point that I'm going to talk about. Okay? Fine. Yes. So, yeah. Gallbladder is situated below the right lobe of the liver. Okay. Cystic duct of the gallbladder is connected to the common hepatic duct and they form a common bile duct. So that's what I said. Don't get confused with whatever I'm going to talk about now. So the duct of liver is called as hepatic duct. The duct of gallbladder will be called as cystic duct. So now the cystic duct will also merge with the common hepatic duct. And now that extension will be called as what? That extension will be called as common bile duct. So bile duct will have secretions of whom? Right liver lobe, left liver lobe, and gallbladder also. Is it okay? Any confusion? See, I put it for you all again. So it will be easy for you all to understand. Just now I had done this particular one. Right? I had made this diagram. Correct? Right? So I had called this what? Common hepatic ये नाम दिया था मैंने. Right? Now there will be, say, which color shall I take? There's going to be the secretion of gallbladder, which will continue like this way. Right? And now this is your secretion of gallbladder. Okay. So this is what? This is going to be liver ka secretion. This is also liver ka secretion. This is your gallbladder ka secretion, which will now enter in this zone, right? So ये यहाँ से आया, ये यहाँ से आया, ये यहाँ से आया. All come together, and now they will be called as common bile duct. Yes, they will mix together into the bile duct. Yes, Bhumi, you're right, beta. Okay, so the liver secretion and the gallbladder secretion will mix together in the common bile duct. So what is common hepatic duct and what is common bile duct? इसमें हमेशा बच्चे confuse होते हैं और wrong mark करके आ जाते हैं. I don't want any of my students to go wrong. I'm making this very clear. I don't want any of you all to go wrong with this. Common hepatic duct क्या है and common bile duct क्या है? Common hepatic duct will have only liver secretions. Okay, yeah, this is going to be your cystic duct. The name of this duct is cystic duct. So, common hepatic plus cystic is equal to common Yes, Medansh. Yes, but you're right. Yes, only one duct will come from the gallbladder. Okay, that is called as the cystic duct. Any confusion? Common hepatic, cystic, common bile. Any confusion with any one of you all? Will have secretions from right and left duct. Bile duct, and hepatic duct will have secretions only from the left and right liver. Yes. So common bile duct will have from gallbladder and also from the right liver lobe, also from the left liver lobe. I'll tell you, right. I'll tell you. That is why I'll tell you what it is going to be called as. ठीक है, ये क्लियर है बेटा माइंड में? किसी को कोई डाउट है? गॉल ब्लैडर का इंपॉर्टेंस I'll tell you. Everything is there. It's going to be helping in emulsification. I'll tell you, of course. I'll tell you. But इधर तक ओके है? Yeah. So you understood what is common hepatic duct and common bile duct. Now I am very sure that you all have understood and you won't get confused. Yes. Yes, bacha. Yes, Vidhi, you are right. Okay. Now, internally. So this was the external structure that we have studied. We have not gone inside. Now we're going to go inside the liver and try to understand that how exactly and what exactly the liver is going to be looking like from inside. Okay. So internally, liver is made up of numerous polygonal lobules. Oh my God. External तो समझा. अब internal का क्या है? कुछ नहीं है, simple है. Internally, when you take a cross section of the liver, you will see many polygonal lobules present. I'll show you the diagram, don't worry. These lobules are covered by fibrous connective tissue. The covering layer is called as Glissen's capsule. So my dears, please remember, many students get confused कि liver is covered with Glissen's capsules. No, bacha. Liver is covered by peritoneum. Liver ka internal part will be covered, having polygonal structures which will be covered by Glissen's capsule. Is it fine? So every polygonal lobule will be covered with a Glissen capsule. जैसे कि orange होता है अपना, संतरा खाते हो? You all eat oranges? So orange जब आप छीलते हो, when you actually take out that skin, it's going to be the thick orange color का skin. That is peritoneum, for example. And then when you open it, inside you will see the actual, like those parts which you eat. But even it is going to have a thin covering, yes or no? That orange का एक पतला सा internal ऐसा वो एक thin covering होता है ना बेटा, वैसे ही होता है. So जैसे कि वो orange के अंदर कितने सारे वो छोटे छोटे पीस होते हैं which you eat it individually. Correct na? Like same way, the liver is going to be having छोटे components which are polygonal in shape. These are crescent shape. जो हम orange खाते हैं उसका shape crescent, मेरे बिंदी के जैसा है ना? उसको हम crescent shape कहते हैं. That is crescent shape, what we eat in the orange. Instead of that, in the liver, it is going to be polygonal in shape. But similar way, as the crescent shape is going to have a transparent layer. Yes, beta, a transparent thin covering over it. The same way, each polygonal lobule will also have a thin covering over it, which is going to be called as Glissen's capsule. So please, ये दिमाग में fit करना, liver is not covered by Glissen's capsule. Liver के lobules internally are going to be covered by Glissen's capsule. Is it absolutely clear in your mind? No confusion. Now you could imagine all the things. That is more important. So each lobule consists of, now we are going to go inside that individual जो हम खा रहे हैं ना, उसको अगर देखो बेटा, जब हम छोटे होते हैं ना, तुम्हारे मम्मी डैडी ने भी ऐसे ही किया होगा. I am very sure about it. When you all are very small now, they'll not give you that entire orange का that crescent shape to eat. What they will do? They will open that also. They'll remove that shilka also. They'll remove the seeds also. And only that fleshy hair part they will give you to eat. Yes or no? Correct ना? हाँ, नहीं तो वो अटक जाएगा ना, तो छोटे रहते हैं. But yes, very small fine hairs which are going to be very fleshy and juicy. Okay, so why? so that you don't वो अटके नहीं. That transparent cover ना कभी कभी छोटे बच्चे होते हैं ना उनमें अटक जाता है बेटा. They are not able, they don't have teeth ना, so they cannot squeeze it and crush it. So at that age, that tender age, not at this age. This age you should eat that entire thing. It is having very good roughage, which is good for you all. Fibers है उसमें, है ना. Pipe is small नहीं, crush नहीं होता है ना बेटा, तो वो अटक जाएगा. Even you try to do it, you don't crush food. सीधा का सीधा खाने का कोशिश करो, अटक जाएगा. It needs to be made into a bolus. It's only possible because of the teeth. So in the very small age, teeth कहाँ पर है, right? So in the same way, when you open that single individual unit, you remove that transparent covering, and when you look inside it, how you see that fleshy hair now, in the same way, when you open the lobule, now we are going inside the lobule. Understood? You understood why I gave you the orange example? So just as the lobule is covered with the Glisson's capsule, the orange ka that one in unit is also covered with the transparent covering. Then when you open the transparent covering, you see the fleshy hair. Here, when you open the lobule, what you're going to see inside it? So see, you will see radial rows of hepatic cells. Okay. Yeah, so this is how it looks like. I'll show you this. I'm coming to this, of course. The previous slide, maybe may are you, don't worry. Look at this. This is one lobule. Can you see? This is one lobule. Likewise, we have got so many lobules in our liver. So this is made up of what they are saying. You can see this 2 rows, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. ये दिखाई दे रहे हैं आपको दो layers, दो columns of the cells, right? Yeah. So in the same way, they are saying each lobule consists of radial rows of hepatic cells. 2 rows of hepatic cells are combined together, which are going to be called as hepatic cord. क्या बोलते हैं हम लोग उसको? Hepatic cord. Each hepatic cord is lined by endothelial layer. Try to understand. We are going into much depth of this liver. Okay. Fine. There are so many lobules which are going to be present. So see, my dears, see here. Okay. Can you see these two rows? These are the hepatic cells. Okay. The 2 hepatic cells together. So this is the hepatic lobule. Can you see this? Hepatic lobule. ये बाहर का covering दिख रहा है बेटा? Line वाला. ऐसे line बनाए हैं. This is the Glisson's capsule here outside. This is the hepatic lobule, as you can see, right? So this is going to be your hepatic lobule ke hepatic cells, and 2 rows of the hepatic cells will come to the center, which is going to be called as what? 2 together. We call them as hepatic cord. What we call them as? Hepatic cord. Okay. And these individual cells, okay, these together will make up the hepatic cord. In between the hepatic cord, a space is present called as the hepatic sinusoid. So I think there is a word called as sinusoid somewhere. These gaps, ये white color के gaps दिखाई दे रहे हैं. These are the hepatic, yeah, see, these hepatic sinusoids. दो के बीच में ये वाला gap. Right? Got it? You want me to show the Glisson's capsule? This thin layer, ये जो पतला सा बाउंड्री किया है ना बेटा, जो ऐसे यू शेप बन रहा है, देखो ये एंड से ये एंड जो बन रहा है ना, दिस इज द Glisson's capsule. ये वाला outer most. Okay, this line, outer line. Okay, so what is hepatic cord? Hepatic cord is nothing but 2 rows of hepatic cells together combined, which is going to be called as hepatic cord. The spaces between the 2 consecutive hepatic cord will be called as hepatic sinusoids. Okay, these sinusoids are filled with blood. So why do we require this gap? What is the function of this gap? The function of this gap is entry of blood. Okay, sinusoids are lined by the endothelial cells mostly, but few macrophagic cells are also present. You can see these macrophages. ये देखो, ये macrophages है. ये 1, 2, तीन चार, हर एक में एक दो मैक्रोफेजेस दिखाई दे रहे हैं. These macrophages are going to be called as Kupffer cells, and these Kupffer cells are again soldiers. They fight, they eat away the bacteria, virus, etc. So what is going to happen? They are going to give protection. They are protective in function. Agreed? So here they are saying these are the macrophages. In each and every cell you can see this Kupffer cell. Ye dekho, Kupffer cell, that is a macrophage. Yes, exactly. Yes, Medans, right, beta. So it has to be, the Kupffer cells have to be present so that these problems associated with the, infections does not occur. Got it? Okay. So these are called as the Kupffer cells. Yes, a part of. Yes. Who will have HCl? Stomach mein. This is liver, bacha. We are talking about the liver. Stomach is done. Now we are talking about the liver. Of course, it is there, but that is when the food will pass. Liver में food कहाँ आ रहा है अभी? Liver is nothing to do with direct digestion. It's not a part of our alimentary canal. It's a different structure present on the right hand side below the diaphragm. So, via the blood or anything, definitely there are chances that it may get the infection. And liver does get infection. Liver infections होते हैं. What is jaundice? What is jaundice? Correct? Yeah, so these will prevent, these Kupffer cells are going to prevent the bacterial infections and the viral infections, especially of the liver, right? Okay, now the bile canaliculi run between the two layers of the hepatic cells in each hepatic cord. Bile canaliculi. Now, what is this bile canaliculi? Here you can see ये दो सेल्स के बीच में ये जो गैप दिखाई दे रही है बेटा, ये दो रोज के बीच में एक गैप होती है, बहुत फाइन पतली सी गैप होती है. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज कैनिलिक्यूलाई. फाइन. सो यहां से ये बाइल सिक्रीशन बाहर निकलेगा. गॉट इट? अब बाइल कौन बना रहा है? हु इज मेकिंग बाइल फॉर इट टू कम इनटू दैट गैप? डू यू नो हु मेक्स इट? लेट अस सी हु मेक्स इट. सी, hepatocytes or the hepatic cells pour bile into the canaliculi. So the bile cells, ये जो दो रोज आपको दिखाई दे रही है ना, ये दो रोज के जो cells है ना, these are the hepatocytes, and these hepatocytes are going to make the bile. Now these bile, when they make it, they have to pour it somewhere, right? So they pour it into these gaps. So these gaps will be called as what? Canaliculi. Is it okay? Understood? Let my, this pen is actually my word, I would say. So, आ गया अपना. Why that thing is not coming for me too? अरे, where did it go? मेरा drawing वाला. To stop the sharing and do it again. Okay, see. Well, share on the whiteboard, no matter. ये देखो बेटा. So here I'll draw the, the two rows of cells. I'm trying to draw them. These are your hepatocytes. Okay, so you may not see it in a very clear view, but there's going to be a gap present in between them. Okay, so these are going to be your two rows of hepatocytes, right? Now whatever secretions are they going to make now, this secretion will be poured into this pores, these gaps. Okay, so यहाँ पर है ना पूरा ये उनका secretion आ जाएगा, which is going to be nothing but the bile. Okay, and these areas, this area here would be called as bile canaliculi. ओके वो डायग्राम में क्लियरली नहीं दिखाई दे रहा था, सो आई एम ट्राइंग टू शो यू विद द पे. इज इट ओके नाउ? अंडरस्टूड हाउ इट इज? Well, so here you can see now that particular thing very clearly, है ना? Now you understood where is bile canaliculi है, जो मैंने draw किया, हाँ? Because someone has asked me that where is the bile canaliculi. Now you got it, beta. Where is it? Huh? Yeah, that is why I have drawn it separately. इधर पता है, इधर ना ये diagram में it cannot be figured out. I know. Okay. So the bile, huh, and hepatic sinusoids both are gaps. Yeah, but the bile canaliculi is sandwiched between the two rows of the hepatocytes. Between the two rows, they have been sandwiched, and the sinusoids are between the two bands or the two hepatic cords के बीच का thing is the sinusoid. Okay. Well, now see, canaliculi open into the branch of hepatic duct, which is situated in the angular part of the lobule in the Glissen's capsule. Okay, so as you all can see very well, I'll just use my pen. Yes. Here you can see this. This is going to be your, areas where you can very well see something called as the hepatic duct. Can you see this? I'll move my camera. Okay, so here you can see 1, 2, 3. So ये जो है ना, ये outer lining जो है ना बेटा, ये वाला, this is going to be your Glissen's capsule. Those who are having difficulty in understanding where is the Glissen's capsule, the red covering जो मैं बना रही हूँ ना, this is going to be the Glissen's capsule. Open spaces, they are open spaces. They are going to connect, see here now, they are going to be connecting over here. They'll open like here. Okay, yeah. So here they are saying that canaliculi open into the branch of hepatic duct, which is situated at the angular part. Can you see this is at an angle? ये एक angle है, correct? Which are present at the angular part of the lobule in the Glissen's capsule. So यहाँ पर you can very well see angle पे है, हर एक जगह पर, even this one, even this one. So all these are what your angular areas of the Glissen's capsules के साथ wrap किया हुआ lobule का part. All branches of the hepatic duct of the right and left lobule are combined to form the left hepatic duct, which comes out from the liver and makes up the common hepatic duct, which I have already explained what is common hepatic duct. So I hope you all have understood what I'm trying to tell you. कोई difficulty है? कोई doubts है? समझ में आया? Everything internally कैसे दिख रहा है? So quickly, I'll just rapidly give a recap. Rapidly, I'll give a recap of this. What do you want me to explain? Second last part, canaliculi open the branch of the hepatic duct. So here you can see the hepatic ducts. So these are the ducts. These are the ducts. Okay, fine. And these ducts, branch of hepatic portal vein, branch of bile duct. Can you see this? Branch of bile duct दिखाई दे रहा है ये वाला. This one, I'll show you it. The green one which I'm making. Can you see this green one? So these are there everywhere. See? Interlobular bile duct. ये देखो बेटा. The green one which I'm marking with the green in color. You see this? Okay. Yeah. So this is going to be the, yeah, I know it appears like a rings because it's in cross section. Yes, my dears. So now that green color ka part which I have circled now, that is your bile duct. Ye dekho. Interlobular bile duct. So the canaliculi will open over here. They'll open over here. Okay. Which is situated at the angular part. Can you see it's in an angle? Okay. Of the Glissen's capsule. All branches of the hepatic duct. So you can see this is the bile duct or the hepatic duct. So all branches of these bile duct or the hepatic duct will be coming from the right lobe and the left lobe, which will merge together as common hepatic duct. Okay, got this? Very clear. Any difficulty, please let me know. Any point not understood, please let me know. Just give me a minute. My hepatic vein. Yeah, I'm coming to that hepatic artery and hepatic vein. I'll come to it. Right now, I'm just talking about the secretions of the bile. So see, the bile duct contains the bile juice is what we say. कौन बना रहा है ये bile juice? Who is making it? Who is making the bile actually? So these liver cells, hepatic cells are making the bile, which are pouring their secretions into the canaliculi. From the canaliculi, that bile is being transported to a duct called as the hepatic duct or the bile duct. All the branches of these bile duct will combine eventually to form the right and the left ducts. So the right duct and the left duct will then combine to form the common bile duct. The common bile duct and the cystic duct of the gallbladder will then combine to form the common bile duct. Is it fine? Understood? So इतने हम details में चले गए. I'll tell you what happens in the central vein. Vein है तो definitely it is going to be carrying deoxygenated blood, बेटा. Vein का काम क्या है? To carry deoxygenated blood. Correct? Artery का काम क्या है? To bring the oxygenated blood. Right? Correct? Just read this. I'll just on my charger for my laptop. 1 minute में आ रही हूँ मैं. Because नहीं तो वो switch off हो गया तो अपने connection. Okay. So यहाँ तक समझ में आ गया सब कुछ. Okay. So I'll just give a quick recap of whatever we have done. First thing of the liver, internal structure. Internally, the liver is divided into several lobules. Every lobule is going to be covered with a Glissen's capsule. Lobule internally, when we go inside the lobule, we can see there are going to be hepatic cells at the periphery, and there will be 2 rows of hepatic cells coming towards the center. The 2 rows of cells which are coming towards the center would be called as hepatic cord. Between the 2 rows of the hepatic cord lies a space called as canaliculi, bile canaliculi. These hepatic cells will make the bile secretions which will be poured in this canaliculi. This canaliculi will then open into a interlobular bile duct. All the branches of this interlobular hepatic duct from the right side will merge together, from the left side of the liver will merge together and come out as right duct and left duct of the liver. The right duct and the left duct of the liver will combine to form the common bile duct. The common bile duct will get sideways entry from the cystic duct of the gallbladder, which will continue further as common bile duct. That is with respect to the secretions. With respect to the blood supply, the areas between the hepatic cords will be called as sinusoids. These sinusoids will be filled with blood. They'll also have macrophages for taking care of any infection if they encounter. So these macrophages would be called as Kupffer cells, right? What we call it as Kupffer cells. Okay. Now these Kupffer cells are nothing but they are macrophages only, but inside the liver they are going to be specifically named as Kupffer cells. Fine now. So that's the entire idea about whatever we have done till now. Any doubts, any difficulties, anyone who has not followed any part of it, please ask me. पूछ लो. Central vein, artery, ये आएगा. Cystic duct is going to carry the secretions of the gallbladder. I'll come to the gallbladder, then I'll explain. Okay? But ये liver ही थोड़ा सा समझना है अच्छी तरह से. And ये सब चीजें है ना, not very well given in our books रे, इसीलिए. But I hope it is clear to all of you. What is canaliculi? What are sinusoids? What is Glissen's capsules? What is hepatic cord? Everything okay? Yes, yes, it is squamous epithelium. Yes. Very clear na, my dears. हाँ, एक बार तुम्हारा concept clear हो गया ना, then you will not go wrong with anything. Your conceptually you should be very, very strong. That is most important. Okay, na? Sure, fine. Now we talk about the artery and the vein. Someone was asking me about what is the use of the central vein, portal vein. I'll talk about it now. Okay, look at it. Hepatic artery and hepatic portal vein enter into the liver and divide into many branches. So even the artery is going to come in and branch, and even the hepatic portal vein will come in and branch. These branches are also found at the angular part of the Glissen's capsule. So we have seen this in the earlier diagram. See? ये देखो. Branch of hepatic artery, branch of hepatic vein. So even they are going to be there in this angular parts of the Glissen's capsule. Correct? Its fine branches open into the hepatic sinusoids. So arteries and veins will open into the hepatic sinusoids. Branch of hepatic portal vein, branch of hepatic artery, and branch of hepatic duct are collectively going to be called as portal triad. So look at this, bacha. ये देखो. This is your bile duct. That was your hepatic duct. याद है? And duct, bile duct, all together will be called as. Voice breaking, is it? अरे बीच में क्या हो जाता है ये? I can't see my internet unstable or something also. Anyways, चल, fine. So यहाँ तक समझा बेटा? All of you all have understood? What I said just now you all missed? Okay, I'll tell you. See, I'm saying the bile duct, the portal vein, and the hepatic artery. There are three numbers, 1, 2, and 3. So these three together will be called as the portal triad. What we call it as portal triad. Okay. So everywhere you can see the hexagonal shape or the polygonal shape of this hepatic lobule, and at every corner there is going to be a portal triad present. Okay. No issues now. Understood this? Okay. Now, branch of all hepatic sinusoids of one Glissen's capsule open into central vein or intralobular vein. So someone was asking me about the central vein, beta. है ना? So what is the function of the central vein? देखो, all the sinusoids of one glycine capsule will open into the central vein. So सारे sinusoids के जितने भी हेपेटिक साइनसोइड्स है वो सारे कहाँ ओपन होते हैं? सेंट्रल वेन में ओपन होते हैं. सेंट्रल वेन्स आर कंबाइंड and they form a pair of hepatic vein which comes out from the liver and opens into inferior vena cava. So you know inferior vena cava and superior vena cava are associated with what? Bringing or collecting the deoxygenated blood to the heart, which will then pump it to the lungs for oxygenation. Correct? This we know. So inferior vena cava में आके ये जो hepatic vein है ये pour करेगा अपने secretions deoxygenated blood की. So hepatic sinusoids of one glycine capsule, okay, all will open into the central vein. Correct? All the central veins of each and every glycine capsule will then combine and they will form a hepatic vein. And this hepatic vein will come and open into the inferior vena cava. Is it okay? So in this diagram, it will be better. So from here, all the sinusoids will open into this central vein. Can you see? This is the central vein. Here you can see the word. Right? And this is of one lobule. वैसे सारे lobules के ये जो central veins है, they'll come together to form the hepatic vein. And then this hepatic vein will open into the inferior vena cava. Clear? Hepatic portal vein is going to come towards, it's going to bring inside, and central vein is going to make it go outside. Okay, fine. One is going to bring inside, one is going to carry it outside. Fine. So this is going to be your central vein, and this is going to be your portal vein. See, from portal vein there is an entry inside. And from the central vein, it will be carried outside. Okay, got it? Yeah. Most important, what are the functions of the liver? See, most of the biochemical functions of the body are done by the liver. First, secretion and synthesis of bile. Of course, where does the hepatic artery go? Into the sinusoids. It will also open into the sinusoids to supply oxygenated blood, beta. Okay, it will not go anywhere. Yeah. So secretion and synthesis of the bile. This is the main function of liver. Bile is yellowish green alkaline fluid. In bile juice, bile salts, sodium bicarbonate, glycocolate, taurocolate, bile pigments, cholesterol, lecithin are present. So what all things are there in the bile juice? Bile salts hai, sodium bicarbonate, glycocolate, taurocolate, bile pigments, cholesterol, lecithin, all make up the bile juice. Fine. Bile salts help in emulsification of fats. Bile prevents the food from putrefaction. Putrefaction means anaerobic digestion. Okay, formation of gaseous byproduct nahi hoga. Bile will prevent that. It kills the harmful bacteria. Carbohydrate metabolism. The main center for carbohydrate metabolism is the liver. Following steps are related with carbohydrate metabolism. Lecithin. Lecithin is going to be acting like a surfactant. Lecithin का काम है to act like a surfactant. Okay. Carbohydrate mechanism. कैसा होता है carbohydrate metabolism? See how the carbohydrates are going to be actually broken down into the liver. See, glycogenesis, glyco, and these all are salts, my dears. Okay, that you will come to know in chemistry. Actually, glycolate, taurocolate, bicarbonates, all are different types of salts, inorganic salts. Glyco means what, beta? What do you mean by the word glyco? Glyco क्या होता है? Gluco, glyco. What do you mean by that? Sugar, exactly. So the conversion and storage of extra amount of glucose into glycogen from the digested food is called as glycogenesis. Genesis means to generate. Okay, glyco is sugar. So to generate sugar means what? Whatever sugar we have eaten, whatever carbohydrates we have eaten, we have seen already. In respiration chapter, we have seen that the sugars are going to be oxidized to ultimately form carbon dioxide, water vapor, and energy is what we have seen. But extra amount of sugar or stored sugar in our body is going to be called as what? Glycogen. So conversion of extra sugar into glycogen is called as glycogenesis. Understood what is glycogenesis? This word extra amount is very important. Regular amount of sugar which is needed by our body will be used for getting converted into carbon dioxide and water and making energy. But if it is going to be in extra, if it is going to be in excess, which is not going to be immediately broken down, it needs to be stored. So we don't have starch in our body. We don't have starch as storage. Starch is stored in the, in the plants. In animals, in human beings, we don't have storage of sugars in the form of starch. We have storage of sugars in the form of glycogen. So formation of glycogen. So what is genesis? To generate ग्लाइकोजेन को जनरेट करने वाले प्रोसेस को क्या कहते हैं? ग्लाइकोजेनेसिस. इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर माय डियर्स? ऑल ऑफ यू ऑल हैव अंडरस्टूड? हाँ, बिकॉज आगे कंफ्यूजन बढ़ेगा. So I want all of you all to be very clear with this word glycogenesis. Okay. Then we come to what? Glycogenolysis. Lysis is breakdown. So glycogen ka lysis. Glycogenolysis. That is conversion of glycogen into glucose. Back when glucose level in the blood falls down is called as glycogenolysis. So sometimes, you are feeling very hungry and you don't get anything to eat. Then you start feeling very, like tired and you feel very, lazy, ऐसे लगेगा. So why is it? क्यों ऐसे होता है? Because the sugar level has dropped down. After some time, again, you will feel better. Why? Because the stored sugar in the form of glycogen is now going to be again broken down to release the glucose and give you energy. है ना? So that is called as glycogenolysis, glycogen ka lysis. So glycogenesis, formation of glycogen. Glycogenolysis, breakdown of glycogen to liberate sugar, glucose. Okay, यहाँ तक तो बात ओके है, राइट? अब आता है कहानी में ट्विस्ट. What does it see? Gluconeogenesis. Neo means new. Okay, so what exactly is this gluconeogenesis? So at the time of need, liver converts non-carbohydrate compounds like amino acid, fatty acids into glucose. This conversion is called as gluconeogenesis. New molecule of glucose is generated from non-carbohydrate source. So we have seen amphibolic pathway, if you remember in respiration chapter. You remember amphibolic pathway? You have seen fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids are ultimately entering into the Krebs cycle. Correct? You know that. So instead of going ahead with the Krebs cycle, that particular pyruvic acid or DHAP, है ना, या फिर acetyl CoA, that will be used as a raw material for the synthesis of glucose because body is badly starving of glucose. In that case, there will be gluconeogenesis from non-carbohydrate compounds like amino acids and fatty acids. Is it clear? Is this word very clear? Gluconeogenesis. This is done by the liver. हाँ, liver करता है ये काम हमारे लिए. तो कोई बंदा है जो बेचारा बिल्कुल भी for many days that person has not eaten anything, is like how is he still alive? He's alive because whatever amino acids, whatever fatty acids were there in his body, the liver has started converting it into glucose. Fine. Glyconeogenesis. Now this is, as the name says, formation of glycogen. है ना? But from where it is going to be forming? See, synthesis of glycogen from lactic acid, which comes from the muscles. We have done this. We have done this. In breathing and exchange, we have done this, right? Cramps. Yes. So anaerobic respiration, we have done in respiration chapter also. How lactic acid formation takes place in our muscles. Correct? So during that time, the lactic acid which is going to be accumulated in our muscles now need to be immediately converted into glycogen to relax our cramps. जब तक ये ग्लाइकोजन में कन्वर्ट नहीं होता है ना बेटा, तब तक वो क्रैम्प्स का पेन हमारे में से जाता नहीं है. We will have the pain continuously. Right? So ग्लाइकोजन का नया फॉर्मेशन, ग्लाइकोजेनेसिस. Okay. Storage of fats. Liver stores fats in. Acha, this is the third, function. But second function का चारों के चारों समझ में आ गए. All four clear. How the glycogen is made, how the glycogen is broken, how new molecule of glucose is made, and how glycogen is made from lactic acid. Huh? Don't forget the terminologies. Don't forget the definitions. Very important. Third function is storage of fats. Liver stores fats in small amount. Hepatic cells play an important role in the fat metabolism as well. So liver is also going to be storing some amount of fat, but sometimes, excess of fat gets deposited in the liver, which is not good. This is really not good. Okay. You want me to explain what? C and D again? Glycogen का formation. ग्लाइकोजन का ग्लूकोजन मतलब ग्लूकोज का फॉर्मेशन without a carbohydrate source. Normally the carbohydrate will be broken down to form simple sugars. So you eat starch, you eat cellulose, you eat whatever complex sugar. Okay, it will be broken down into simple sugar like glucose. But when this glucose is going to be synthesized from fatty acids or amino acids, then we call it as gluconeogenesis. Okay, so it is going to use the intermediates of the Krebs cycle for forming the glucose molecule. That is the C point. And D point is whenever lactic acid formation takes place in our muscles due to anaerobic respiration, which we have done in breathing and exchange, this lactic acid causes a lot of pain and cramps. So immediately this lactic acid will be converted into glycogen. Okay, to relieve ourselves from the pain and cramps. So this formation of glycogen from lactic acid is glycogenosis. And gluconeo means formation of new molecule of glucose. Okay. Krebs cycle to convert amino acid and fatty acid into glucose. Not exactly Krebs cycle. It's going to be the ulta way. Matlab, we had seen that in respiration, we had seen that glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate, and so on till pyruvic acid and then acetyl-CoA, right? So if you remember, the fatty acids are going to enter the Krebs cycle via acetyl-CoA. So now when acetyl-CoA will be formed from the fatty acid, that acetyl-CoA will be used to go ulta. Means acetyl-CoA to pyruvic acid से ऊपर PEPA and so on करते reverse. Yes, it's the reverse of the acetyl-CoA to glucose formation. That is called as gluconeogenesis. Okay, got it? Okay, so the storage of fats is if it increases in the liver of alcohol addict persons, we call it as fatty liver. So fatty liver ho jata hai, matlab there will be a lot of fat stored in the liver causing blockages. So the sinusoids now they will be clogged with fats. Okay, this storage of fat decreases the activity of the liver. The damage of the liver due to alcohol intake is called as alcohol liver cirrhosis. You might have heard about this word liver cirrhosis. So cirrhosis is actually complete damage of the liver. And that is a very common thing in alcohol addicts, those who drink a lot of alcohol. Deamination and urea formation. Deamination of amino acids is mainly done by the liver. That means, what do you mean by deamination? Removal of NH3 group. So see, amino acid to NH3 separation of ammonia from amino acid is done by the liver. So the ammonia group, NH3 group, will be separated from the amino acids. Liver converts ammonia into urea, okay, through ornithine cycle. So there is a cycle called as ornithine citrulline cycle. It is not there in your syllabus, but in future studies, you'll be having ornithine citrulline cycle. Okay. So it cannot convert ammonia directly to urea. It will first convert it to ornithine, then to citrulline, and from citrulline to urea. So it's a stepwise process, not there in your syllabus, so don't worry as of now. Okay. So after the spoilage of liver, ammonia level in the animal is going to increase and the animal will die. Okay. Purification of blood. The spleen and the liver separate dead blood cells and bacteria from the blood. So they act like what? They act like filters. Kupffer cells in the liver and phagocytes in the spleen perform this function. Synthesis of plasma protein. Many types of proteins are present in the blood plasma. Except gamma globulins, all type of plasma proteins are synthesized in the liver. So imagine all types of plasma proteins are going to be synthesized in this liver itself. Okay. Most of the blood clotting factors are synthesized in the liver. So whenever we have a cut, a wound, it will clot. The wound will heal. So for clotting of the blood, whatever factors are required are also going to be synthesized in the liver. Synthesis of heparin. Heparin is an anticoagulant. So I don't know if you have seen this or not. Okay. When you take the blood sample now and they put it in the test tube, they mix that blood with something which is already there inside that test tube. That is your heparin. It will not allow the blood to form clumps. It will keep the blood in the liquid form. So even in our body, the blood should not become clumped. It should not form gutliani honi chahiye uski. है ना? So to keep it in the liquid form, it requires heparin. And who is going to synthesize heparin? The liver is going to synthesize heparin. Imagine if this heparin is not going to be synthesized, the person will have blood clots all over the body. So heparin is so very important. Correct? Some heparin is also formed by basophils that are special type of white blood cells, which we're going to talk about in the next chapter, that is circulation. So in humans, heart and circulation chapter, we're going to talk about these basophils also. Okay. When the ammonia level increases, doesn't it give load to the kidney? Yeah, that is why there's going to be failure then. The overall person ka pura mechanism hi fail ho jayega. That is the reason we are saying the person will die. Right? Ornithine cycle, it's an intermediate. Ornithine is a chemical. So that just how we have got glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-diphosphate. You remember these? That to pagal and dhap. Huh? Ye yaad hai? So how these are the intermediates, na? In the same way, ammonia will undergo several intermediates like citrulline, ornithine, and this cycle is called as ornithine cycle. To release ammonia, ultimately that is going to, so ammonia will get converted into urea. So how urea is formed? How pyruvic acid is formed? By glycolysis. In the same way, how ammonia is formed, how ammonia is degraded into urea? By ornithine cycle. So it's an intermediate, it's a chemical, which is going to be an intermediate. Fine. Synthesis of vitamin A. The liver converts the beta carotene into vitamin A. Beta carotene is a photosynthetic pigment which is obtained from plants like carrots. We know that we say for good eyesight, we should eat a lot of carrots. Why? Because carrot contains beta carotene. And the liver is going to convert this beta carotene into vitamin A. So directly there is no source of vitamin A. Okay. Liver stores vitamin like A, D, E, K, and B12. So these all are vitamins which are required for our proper functioning. Storage of minerals. Liver stores iron in the form of ferritin. Please remember this. Iron is stored in the form of ferritin. Why I'm telling you remember this? Because this point will be used up in the next chapter, that is circulation chapter, about the ferritin and iron. It's associated with hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is associated with circulation of blood. So please remember this word. I'll ask you that time that how iron is going to be stored in the form of which form in the liver? Ferritin. Okay. Liver also stores the copper, zinc, cobalt, molybdenum, etc. All these are going to be your minerals. Liver is a good source of iron. So people who are non-vegetarian, who eat meat, they are the ones who will be, generally not having a problem if they eat the liver of that animal. Because it's rich in iron. Okay. Detoxification. In this process, liver converts the toxic substances into non-toxic substances. The toxic substances are formed by the metabolic activities of the body. We know how the metabolism is there. So prussic acid is converted into neutral potassium sulfocyanide, which is non-toxic. But prussic acid is toxic by the liver. So now there are so many different toxins that are going to be produced in our body. One of the examples they have given is prussic acid. Okay. Homeopoiesis, the formation of blood cells is called as homeopoiesis. In the embryonic stage, RBCs and WBCs are formed by the liver. So in adults or in newborns ke baad, later stages, the bones will develop, and then the bone marrow will start producing the RBCs and the WBCs. But in the embryonic stage, bones bane hi nahi hai fetus ke. So how they'll be having the capacity to make RBCs and WBCs? So who will make it for them? The fetus ka liver will be the homeopoietic organ. देखो कितना important है liver, right? So many functions are involved with liver. Any difficulty till here, beta? Simple? Understanding whatever is being said? 14th is yolk synthesis. Most of the yolk is synthesized in the liver. But we are microlecithal. So in human beings, we know that yolk is not very well going to be formed. But in birds' egg, the chicken egg that you all eat, that yellow part is going to be the yolk. So it's going to be synthesized by the liver of that particular animal. Secretions of enzymes. Some enzymes are secreted by liver, participate in the metabolism of protein, fats, carbohydrates like dehydrogenase, cytochrome oxidase. These names you already have studied in the chapter of respiration, right? Removal of hydrogen was dehydrogenase. You remember? Cytochrome oxidase, the ETS cycle, right? Prothrombin and fibrinogen proteins are also formed in the hepatic cells. These help in blood clotting. Blood clotting factors like 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, 10 are formed in the liver. These are responsible for blood clotting whenever there's going to be any wound, injury to our body. So see, these questions have been asked earlier in our previous examinations. So I have jotted down these functions, but there are many more, but they have not been asked, but ye puche gaye hai. Prothrombin is an active form of fibrinogen. So it needs to be activated into fibrinogen. Then the fibrinogen will convert the fibrinogens into fibrin tissues, okay, which will help in blood clotting mechanism. It's a long cascade. How blood clot takes place, it's a long, what we say, a flow chart thing that we have to understand in the next chapter, that is circulation. So after digestion, I'm going to go ahead with circulation chapter only. Okay. But first let me complete the chapter of digestion. So I hope you all have understood up till here everything about liver. So majority of our today's lecture was based on liver, but that's okay. Okay. I'll talk about it. Endocrine ka bhi aayega. Okay, come. Okay. But yes, many things today about the liver has been very, very clear in your mind. I hope you all have understood, especially the internal structure of the liver. Okay. Right. So in the next class, we can go ahead with the actual process of digestion. Yeah, along with the pancreas. So from next class, we'll go ahead with pancreas and the actual process of digestion. Is it okay? Fine, Beta. It's almost 5:30. So I'll stop for today. In the next class, we'll go ahead with the continuation of this chapter. Okay? Bye, bye, bye. See you. अरे ट्यूसडे का हमने डाउट लेक्चर किसका रखना है डिसाइड नहीं किया. चलो बोलो which we have to keep. Tuesday 4 to 5 अपना. I don't remember which is there. Reproduction in organisms module questions. Okay, so this Tuesday we'll go ahead with reproduction in organism. That's done. Then human reproduction. Then we'll go ahead with human reproduction chapter. So human reproduction doubts leke aana. Okay? Human reproduction doubts from whatever. Wherever you have got doubts, we can. Achha, conceptual doubts were done. Whatever is remaining, we'll go ahead with that. Okay? Fine. So this Tuesday, 4 to 5, we'll have a session for reproduction in humans wala chapter, whatever is remaining. Well, bye bye. See you all. Take care.